being a congressman does not seem like fun to me. So
No.
why?
It needs to be more people like us. Like you say, man.
But you got to go back to how you set it up on the video, because this was a setup. This was a setup. You got to go back to how that got set up.
Okay, so, all right, so we're down here in the great state of Florida, so we all know who Byron Donalds is. Byron Donalds is a congressman. He's a representative over there down in the southwest corner of Florida. There's been talk of him running for governor, and he's actually declared since then. But at the time I made this video, I put it out there. I was like, look here. There's no way that I'm going to let this man be the governor of Florida, even if I have to run. So if he announces his run for governor, I'm going to throw my name in the hat.
Well,
Again, just being funny, creating the video.
Okay.
And I got so many people like, yes, do it.
Podcast Twins from the Twin Cave. We're back, Vince.
We are back in the Twin Cave, and yet again, we have a very special guest. But before we get into that, I want to just remind all of our fans, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And if you've already subscribed, send it to 3 people who you know have not subscribed as of yet. Hit the bell icon. Therefore, you always know when we have something new coming up, new ideas, we pop out there, because we're going to start putting out more content than just once a week. So I want you guys to be prepared for that. And all my Spotify fans out there, remember, man, when you pull your big rigs over and your trucks over, you can also drop a comment there. We'd love to hear from each and every person that's participating.
Even if you're just driving to work, just get to work first and then do it.
That's it. Hey, if you like what you see, you ain't got time, just drop us a number 1 in there. Let us know that we first in your heart.
Well, Vince, we got Bernard Taylor for Congress here today.
Listen.
It says so right on his shirt.
That's what the shirt
So you're going to
says.
be forced to talk politics, but why don't you introduce your friend? Introduce your friend to the audience first.
I will put it like this. My man Bernard Taylor, BT as I call him, that's just all I do. But let me tell you something. This dude here, he's an amazing person. He's also a fireman with me. We share the same department, but we also do the same thing on every 3-day basis. But we also have more things in common. This guy is one hell of a content creator. If you guys have not already followed him on any platform, just look for Bernard Taylor. He will provide you some of the funniest stuff you've heard in ages. All right, and so that being the case,
he also has the best hairstyle of any of our guests.
I am
think,
completely,
so far.
I'm completely out haired in here in the room today. This is wrong, man. But anyway, but yeah, BT is the man out there. Again, he has a huge following out there. So this was what I wanted to start out with him and find out how you go from all of the things you've done, which is including like MMA type fighting and just general good weight training and helping folks in that regard, coming into the fire service, becoming a medic. I remember when you got all that stuff squared away.
Yeah.
How did the content creation come into play?
So, man, well, first and foremost, man, thank you guys for having me, taking the time out your day to, do this for me. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Of course.
Absolutely. Man, I want to say about 5 years ago, even before that, with Facebook and Instagram been around for so long, I remember just back in my early 20s, just, like any other person that worked out, you just start posting your videos on the internet, hoping to gain a following and being that whole fitness influencer lifestyle. And, it was dead for me. Like, I did that stuff for almost 6 years, just from 2012 on to like 2019, just posting regular workout stuff and talking about fitness. And it's just such an oversaturated genre when it comes to content creation. It wasn't until I actually started to get involved in the career I am now that I started to expand my thoughts and expand my thinking about how to create content and looking into the things that were going viral and that people were looking to engage with. And most of the time it was just people wanting to laugh, man. With so many things that go on in your daily life, it's nice to just get on the phone and catch a quick joke or a quick laugh every now and again. So I took my life experiences in the beginning and the things that I thought were relatable, and I made them funny because, again, I saw previous content creators who were starting to come up in the game, and that's what they were doing. They're just talking about their life. And it's like anything, if you pay attention to A lot of the stand-up comedians of old, whether it be Bernie Mac, whether it be Steve Harvey, whether it be Cat Williams, what do they say? A lot of their comedy derives from their life experiences.
Absolutely.
So, when you can create content that's relatable and that is engaging and that people can be like, oh yeah, that's happened to me before, or something like that, it becomes more engaging and you start to develop that following. So I started out just creating regular, relatable lifestyle moments and content just from my growing up down in Miami to everyday things that we come in contact with at regular work jobs. And eventually, as I got into my career, I started to create more focused content around that and focus on that being my niche. And 5 years later, and hundreds of thousands of followers and
Crazy.
hundreds of millions of views later, here I am, man. I'm one of the top content creators in my field. That and it's still crazy today, man. Just to see how many people that recognize me out in public. I'm talking about not just here where we are locally, but I fly over the country and I'm in different airports and somebody will run up with their phone and be like, "This you?"
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And then again, it's not only that aspect of it, but I've been able to affect so many different young people's lives, man. I get so many messages. It's like, I never thought about being an EMT. I never thought about being a firefighter. Like, how do you go about it? What is the process?
Well,
I started to get into it after I saw your videos, and those are the messages that mean the most to me, man. Just being able to have that impact on others' lives and get them interested in the field.
I have to ask you, because you seem like a regular guy. You seem like a guy that wants to have fun and smile and enjoy creating your content, and you're good at what you do and your career. Why on earth do you want to run for Congress?
Oh, that's way early on that. Way. Put a plug in that one, bro.
I gotta know though. This is a burning question.
It's way early for that, man.
All right, fine. I'm gonna sit here until Vince tells me I could ask questions.
No, you can ask it. But
no, go ahead, Vince.
That one we gotta back that one up.
That's all right. You can back it up.
That's when the anvil comes down.
Give him some time to think about that one, because I want to hear this.
We drop the anvil.
Listen, man. That's me. I'm a bull in a china shop. That's how I roll.
Oh, man. I'm the same, man. Don't feel bad.
Go ahead, Vince.
I said the same.
I think it's funny because I get people that will tag his content and just be sending it to me. I'm like, that's my boy. They're like, no. I'm like, nah, for real, man, that's my boy, man. They like, I'm like, yeah, man, that's my dog right there. We talk quite a bit, about that kind of stuff. And so it's funny. That's when you're talking about going around the country. I mean, I got a lot of my friends around the country that does that, and that is one of the funniest things to me about when things do pop off and they go crazy. It's so unexpected because you're not going to walk up to this dude on a regular basis and think he's just a funny dude. It just looks like, hey man, look, I'm serious. But this sumbitch is hilarious. I mean, just the things he come up with, the ideas, and sometimes I'm like, BT, slow down, bro. Don't you tote that line. Sometimes I got to be the big brother in there. Sometimes it be like, hey, bro, slow down. We still got a job.
Yeah, I got to reel it back in every now and again.
Pull him back in.
Absolutely.
But other than that, man, look, this guy's out there doing the big stuff, man, and doing it at a high level, and that level of consistency that we all strive to be, even with our show here, Podcast Twins. We looking to get that same consistency, that same exploitation of this internet situation.
Absolutely.
So that for that we appreciate you being here, and you'll be able to see it on his content as well as you'll see it on our content.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're going to be doing, this little cross breeding, cross
marketing,
cross contamination. For our field.
At least it's
right.
At least it's not a cooking episode, and we're talking about cross
that would be
worse.
a whole different
That
thing.
would be worse.
Yeah. Then you'll get him showing up there with his red bags, and we don't need that.
Well, no, it's good though, man. Again, like I say, my platform and everything that I've gained, it wouldn't be possible again without the people, man. Without everybody showing support. So anytime that I can reach out and give that support to others who are coming up and trying to create content and trying to figure out what's the best way to go about doing things. And I tell people the same thing all the time. You got to be consistent. You got to be dedicated. Find what your niche is going to be and stay focused, man. Stay consistent at it. It's not going to pop off. I'm just being perfectly honest. When I first really took it seriously about 5 years ago, I posted 3 videos a day for 90 days.
Yeah.
Straight. Didn't miss a day. So 3 videos a day for 90 days straight and didn't miss a day. Everything didn't get a million views. Everything didn't pop off. But in those 90 days with that much content, I did have videos that went viral and I did have things that popped off. And what happens is with these algorithms, they're trying to differentiate between are you a consumer or are you a creator? So you have to establish in these algorithms that you are a creator, you're not a consumer. Once they establish that, wait a minute, this person is actually on this app to help bring eyeballs to this app.
Right.
We need to start pushing their content out.
Right.
You can't just say I'm gonna be a content creator, hit it up for a week, and then just go
Back
cold
off.
turkey.
Right.
Because now the algorithm's not picking you up yet.
Right.
So I try to explain that again to as many people as I possibly can. Like, whatever you're doing, post it. Don't make it perfect. A lot of stuff that I do is not perfect. You know, my wife gets on me all the time and say, your mouth and the words didn't add up right here in these videos and things like that. So it's not about perfection at times. You'll see people spend like hours on a 1 12-second video and it gets 100 views and they get discouraged and they just don't want to put the work in. So I always tell people, look, start small. Don't be perfect. Just get yourself out there. Try to do as much as you can. Be consistent with it, and watch it take off for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, when my training page was really active prior to my little debacle, it was that's what it took. I wasn't doing 3, but I was doing about 2 a day. One very short and one long form. For me, a long form was 3 minutes.
Where have you seen this success? Is it TikTok? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Like YouTube? Where have you seen it?
Everywhere.
Okay. So when you say you're posting 3 times a day, you're posting 3 times a day on all of the platforms.
So whatever content I create, I post it everywhere. So if I create that one video, it gets posted through Instagram, to Facebook, to YouTube, to TikTok, to whatever other apps are out there that seem to be gaining popularity. I try to get in on as many apps as I can at the ground level because you just never know what's going to take off. But yeah, like say on Instagram, a piece of content might not do well, but that same piece of content might explode on Facebook.
Crazy.
It's a different audience.
Yeah.
A Facebook audience is anywhere between 40 and up, to be quite honest with you. So that content might be a little bit more relatable to that crowd. On Instagram, you got a lot of the millennials, a lot of the 25 to 40-year-olds in that range that still be on Instagram. TikTok is all, the younger generation, so that content might hit different for the younger generation than it does for the older generation. And then I tell everyone, man, you got to get to that YouTube. Once you get to that YouTube money, sky's the limit, man. Once you get to that YouTube subscriber level and you start to get traction on YouTube, that's when you can really start to open a lot of doors for yourself and you become your own. You can become your own brand. YouTube is an opportunity for everyone to be their own TV channel. You can be your own TV network. You can be your own television station. Again, it's about being consistent and building those platforms to get to that point.
Okay.
Drew?
Now I could ask him?
Open it up.
So, again, you're a regular guy, you're a comedian, you're a creator, you're a firefighter, you're an EMT, you've got all these things going. And they all seem like fun. And running for Congress and being a congressman does not seem like fun to me. So why?
It needs to be more people like us. Like you said, man,
But you got to go back to how you set it up on the video. Because this was a setup. This was a setup. You got to go back to how that got set up.
Okay, so this was the thing. All right, so again, it all stemmed from content. All right, so we're down here in the great state of Florida. So we all know who Byron Donalds is. Byron Donalds is a congressman. He's a representative over there down in the southwest corner of Florida. There's been talk of him running for governor, and he's actually declared since then. But at the time I made this video, I put it out there. I was like, look here. There's no way that I'm going to let this man be the governor of Florida, even if I have to run. So if he announces his run for governor, I'm going to throw my name in the hat.
Well,
just being funny, creating the video.
Okay.
And I got so many people like, yes, do it. I was like, it's regular comments or whatever. He actually announces he's going to run for governor. So I'm like, I got to be a man of my word. So I get on here. I was like, all right, so somebody walk me through the steps, tell me what I got to do. And I got so many messages and feedback about, yeah, definitely. This is what you need to do if you want to get involved. This is who you need to reach out to. This is who you need to speak with. And then I started doing some background. I started really looking into how to actually run for office, the qualifications here in the state. And I looked at what was most feasible. Obviously, being never in politics, you can't just jump and run for governor. But I did look at to see what would be the most feasible thing for me to do and the most attainable position for me to get. Once I decided on that, I talked to enough people. I talked to my family, and we decided like, yeah, it's something that you should do. And it just ever since then, it's been like crazy the amount of support I've gotten, and I just get and that's another thing. So I started my congressional page 2 months ago from zero. Didn't tell my other page like, hey, come to this page and follow me. I started that one from zero. We're at 120,000 in 2 months on Instagram, and we're at 110,000 on TikTok.
So what's your beef with this guy that wants to run for governor?
Not really a beef. It's really just...
Why are you so passionate that he shouldn't be the governor then?
Oh my gosh, let's see where I get started. Let's see where I get started.
He probably should have been swallowed.
I mean, Vince knows I'm as anti-politician as it gets. So go ahead, Bernard. Don't pull any punches.
My thing is, again, everything that he has done it's not been for us. Right. Everything he has done has been in service of another person, has been in service of either the people that donate to him or his party as a whole. His own community doesn't even really like him.
Okay.
Half of his own party doesn't really like him. He's literally just put there to be of service for the people that's over top of him. And he'll tell you that. And then the really thing that got to me, just on a personal level as a man, like you got on national TV and you called another grown man daddy. That just doesn't sit right with my spirit. As a grown man, like you can't be sitting here and like, daddy's home. Like, I'm 36 years old and I can't even put myself to be like, hey, daddy's home. Like, nah, man. And my dad would probably slap me if I ever said.
Well, only time he could say that is if he was at the third stage of the Diddy
Exactly,
party.
Man.
Then at that point, you can call any one of them in there daddy because they're gonna oil you up.
Exactly. But it's just a multitude of things. Again, the rhetoric he uses, the anti my community that he uses, even though he is of my community, and it's literally just like, you know what, people deserve better, man. People actually deserve people that are going to get in here and represent them, and not necessarily represent the people that can put the most money in their pockets.
Okay. And you're running in Port St. Lucie, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Port St. Lucie is about as red as it gets.
Yes.
And you're blue. You got blue. You got a D next to your name. So that's got to be an uphill battle, right?
So the thing about our district, so Congressional District 21 goes from Port St. Lucie to Martin County to Northern Palm Beach County. So we got 3 different counties. We got a huge district, right? That district used to actually be blue before the current congressman we have now won that seat. And the reason I know that district used to be blue is because I am a child of that district. I grew up and I was raised down in Miami. I moved up to the Treasure Coast when I was 12, finished out middle school and high school in that area. So I'm very familiar with the community. I'm very familiar with the people up there. And there are more people that were more apathetic about politics over the last 4 to 5 years that just didn't turn out to vote. It is seen as a red area just because the turnout hasn't been there, and they haven't really found someone to galvanize the people to actually turn out and vote.
Okay.
I believe even in the city of Fort Pierce alone, the voter turnout was like 10%.
Okay.
If you can even get that up to half, you could flip things around.
And I mean, the red side says the exact same thing.
Yes.
Right? They say, oh, it's a historically, I mean, I had on my original podcast, the On Par podcast, I had Chris Eddy.
Okay.
And he was running in my district down here in Southeast Florida. And his answer was almost identical. He was running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's been in office for 30 whatever years. You know, people kind of recognize her as a horrible politician that's just doing what she gets paid to do.
Exactly.
And he still didn't win, right? Because he's running in a Democratic district and he has an R next to his name. And he said the same thing. It's like, oh, we got to get these people to turn out. And I look at it from, I am not a Republican or a Democrat, right? I think, just like Vince does, and you just articulated, that these politicians are serving corporate America or some multi-billion-dollar donor. So how do you separate yourself from that? Like, what issues do you talk about that appeal to everybody? Because I have my own.
Yeah, so my thing is and again, to your point, I always say, and Vince knows this as well, growing up in Miami-Dade was considered to be a blue stronghold. Miami would never be red.
Right.
Last election.
And now it's red.
Miami's red.
Yeah.
So when people tell me, when they talk about my district out there, I say, yeah, it's been red forever until the right person comes along to motivate the people to come out there and do what they need to do. Now, when it pertains to my message when I get out there, because literally for these last 2 months, I've been everywhere in my district. I've been talking with people. I've been in different volunteer events, just immersing myself in the community.
Okay.
First of all, a lot of people don't even know who their current congressperson is.
True.
So
I get that.
Yeah, so that's first and foremost. And there's some people, some parts of the district I go into, they don't even realize they are part of the district. They don't realize where they are on a congressional map. So the first thing is just educating the people in general about, hey, this is where you are, this is who represents you, and this is what's been going on the past 9 to 10 years. When I get out and I talk to people, and again, just with my career and my background, it helps me to be able to relate to everyone on different levels. And when I get out and I talk with people, I talk with them, again, just like I'm talking with somebody in the back of a rescue. It's not about trying to sound like you're the smartest person in the room. It's literally listening to people's concerns. Like, hey, what is the most concerning thing about your life right now? And then once they tell me that, I break down how different policies affect what's happening to them at that point in time.
So what do they tell you is most important? Because
So-
if I lived in Port St. Lucie, I would be like, look, we got like the worst water in the whole country.
Exactly.
Like, what are you going to... Bernard,
Exactly.
if I vote for you and I get a bunch of friends to vote for you...
around, nobody has worse water.
Well, but like, one is, would that be a top priority for you? And how would you actually affect change?
So the thing with that, again, up in that area, again, water quality and just water in general affects everyone and is a huge topic for everyone.
It's atrocious.
So if you know anything about that area and how the families who run the different corporations around Lake Okeechobee and around the sugar mills out in Belle Glades and things of that nature, and all the red algae and things that they give off, the reason that they're still able to pollute the area the way they are is because the current people that are in charge allow them to. They don't enforce regulations. They don't enforce the rules that are supposed to be in play. And why they don't enforce those rules? Because who put money
Somebody
in their
got
pocket?
paid.
No,
And that's the thing. Like, there are ways and rules and laws that are already on the books. It is up to us to put the people in charge that cannot be swayed by money, that cannot be swayed by power. And that is my thing when I tell people, like, look, I don't have aspirations of being this big, wealthy, rich person. I'm a very simple guy. I like to come home, be with my kids, and play video games. So you don't have to worry about me getting out here and say, I've been trying to be the richest person in the world. I don't have no aspirations higher than being a representative. I'm not trying to move up in politics, so I don't care who I offend. I don't need to schmooze with everybody to try to get your money. If you either like what I'm about to say, you like what I'm trying to do, at the end of the day, I'm here to represent my constituents. And
Okay.
I have to go home. And that's another thing. Like, I don't plan on leaving. Like, I still plan on doing my career. I still plan on being a firefighter because that's my love. I love being in the back of that rescue. I love being on that engine and serving the community. And I'm still going to do that on top of being a representative. So another thing in my community, we have a huge elderly population in the Treasure Coast. So obviously, their health care is extremely important to them. And how the elderly understands their health care, dealing with Medicare and Medicaid, I have to break that down so that it's relatable to people my age who are 20, 25 years away from even thinking about Medicare. So when you think about cuts that they want to make to Medicaid and Medicare, if you look at the hospital in northern St. Lucie County, it's called Longwood Regional Medical Center. That hospital's income is 55% Medicaid and Medicare. That hospital is also the only trauma center between Wusthof Hospital up in northern Brevard County near Melbourne and St. Mary's. So you're talking about the only trauma center between a 90-mile radius. Say you have a traumatic incident in that area. That hospital has lost half its revenue. It can't afford to stay open. So when a hospital can't afford to stay open, it starts to shut down specialties. First thing is going to go is that trauma unit. First thing going to go. You have a traumatic accident. You're 60 miles in either direction to the closest trauma center. It's raining, so we can't get a helicopter up. 60 miles in the back of a rescue to get to a traumatic injury, that's a death sentence.
He gone.
Okay.
That's how those cuts that affect grandma eventually affect you.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing. And when I'm out here on this campaign, you have to explain to people on a basis level understanding of how everything that happens affects you at one way or another.
Okay.
Well, I think the first issue you hit education is, and I think I've mentioned it here probably once or 75 times. I'm not sure, but the fact that most people know who in the hell is in Washington and don't even know who's running their local district. They couldn't tell you who runs their community. Right. Like literally community. Forget even the district. We're talking the community. Who's your local mayor?
Right.
They don't know that because that's not all over the news. Exactly. We get this whole push to look at what we're doing over here, so we can't see what's happening under here. But again, if you learn how to change your local community, what's going on in Washington is so far beyond your scope, it doesn't matter. But my question to you, going forward, and I love that you said, hey man, I'm here, I'm local, I ain't trying to go nowhere. Ultimately, I believe everybody gets into politics for the right reasons. Ultimately, somebody's going to try to find that soft spot because lobbyists are probably the closest thing to sugar that's being the devil. And they're gonna try you because everybody has a price to them. And either you comply with them to get along and get further, feel like I can do better for my congressional district if I play ball with them, or I got to stick to my guns and risk not being able to do it. You know, how do you balance that thought process, and is there a vetting process for those lobbyists that you might want to play with?
So my thing is integrity. One thing we learn in our job is integrity.
Facts.
You can't get your integrity back. So if I tell you I'm going in there to be a representative for you, that means I'm going in there to be a representative for you. So if I am presented with something, the very first thing I'm going to do, let me go talk to my people and see what they want to do.
Okay.
I'm like, this is what's going on. This is the proposal that this guy has. This is how it's going to help our community. This is how it's potentially could hurt our community.
Okay.
What would you guys like to do? And that's what politics should be. It shouldn't be like, oh, this person has this money. Let me just do what they say because they're going to keep feeding money to my campaign.
Right.
It should be like, hey, I represent a community. I don't represent myself. So if I bring this proposal back to my community and they say, no, we don't want to get down with that, that's what democracy should be. It is a majority. It is a collective.
But those that do that, they do go out there and ask, but it conflicts with what they personally feel. A lot of times you'll see that they go with what they personally feel versus what the community actually asked for, because they're like, well, I know better. I've done more research. But you're going to take that research back to them and say, no, this is what I think based on this research. Now you got all the information. Now give me a response to go back to. Is that kind of the plan?
Exactly.
So,
because again, as long as you're being transparent and you're communicating with people and they see your intentions and what you want to do, you guys can come to a collective decision. It's when you get here and they feel like they can't trust you. They feel like you're doing things to enrich yourself or for another purpose, as opposed to what's actually good and right for the community. And again, I was looking at a number the other day, and I made a video about it. It just blew my mind. So there are 435 representatives in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Yep.
There are 100 senators. Less than 2% of the 535 total people that represent us come from a working class background.
Oh yeah.
So that is literally 8 people out of 535 can relate to everybody in this room.
Yeah, they're like blue bloods.
Yeah. So it's like, how are we a representative democracy when the majority of the people that represent us don't even relate to the everyday?
It's like when you get a jury of your peers and nobody looks anything like you.
And you're expected to have a fair summation by the jury, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was a jury of my peers. None of these people can relate to what I experienced.
None of these people are first responders. None of these people are EMTs. None of these people are whatever.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with our government. Like, we have a bunch of people who probably have never gotten their hands dirty in their life. A bunch of people who ain't never been, a paycheck away from being homeless. None of these people have never been having to been dependent on the SNAP program or Medicaid or a disability
But that's why they don't care about it.
Exactly. So if you were to actually get people in that system to actually care about it and are quote unquote incorruptible and actually look out for the people. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy to find people like myself, but there are a lot of people like myself. And the thing that makes it hard, and it makes it hard for working class everyday Americans, is they make it hard to even get in the club. I was talking with a colleague the other day, and it's just like, even to get my name on the ballot in the state of Florida, just to say, hey, print my name here, is almost $11,000. people don't just got $11,000 sitting
No,
around, and that's
no.
just to get your name on. That's
Right.
not even to say, hey, all right, I need to make these flyers. Hey, I need to make business cards. Hey, I need to, do some ads to get my name out there. Like all these different things that cost. They make it so that you have to be at a certain level to even think about getting in politics.
Right.
That's why it's important. If you can't have that financial equity, you have to do what I'm doing. You have to use that
Sweat equity, baby.
you have to get out there and talk to and meet as many people as you possibly can. There have been candidates who, Miss AOC up there in New York is a prime example. She didn't even raise that much money. I don't even think she crossed $100,000. But she was able to win because she knocked on those doors. She was in those communities. She was talking to people, being able to relate to people, being able to conversate with people and saying, hey, this is what's going on, and getting people to galvanize around her. And that's the same thing that you can do just as a regular person. If you can't raise the funds, if you can't raise the funds, if you can't get the big mega donors, if you're like me, you're not trying to get any of those super PACs, you're not trying to get any of those big corporate donors into your campaign, you strictly want to be for the people, you're going to have to be out there and be for the people. You're going to have to get out there and talk with people and be able to get your message across and convince the people that, hey, I am the right choice. You need to choose me to represent you. I'm going to be a representative for you.
What kind of things are they telling you are their biggest concerns? You talk to the average blue collar, white collar, running a family, running a business, working for the man, whatever. What do they tell you? I mean, I mentioned water because that would be if I lived in Port St. and one of my best friends lives up there, and if I lived in Port St. Lucie, that would be the first and only question. But what are they I mean, you touched on Medicare and Medicaid and the hospital situation, but what else are they telling you up in your district?
Well,
what do they want?
Just being able to live. Everybody wants to be able to afford to live. That's the number one thing, man. People want to be able to rent an apartment and not have to work 4 jobs to be able to do it. People want to be able to afford good quality homeowners insurance. But with some of the policies that have been enacted, not just as a federal, but especially here down in Florida, that have ran off all the insurance agencies, it's really like crazy and baffling to a lot of people. And I try to get people, I bring everything down to a basic level so everyone can understand. Like, we've been under the same legislative rules since 1999. It's been the same, party controlling everything in Florida since the year 1999. So until a lot of people start to realize, like, hey, this has been going like this for the last 30 years, it's because you've had one system of control. You keep putting the same people back, regardless of party. You keep putting the same people back and expecting them to do better, and they haven't shown a propensity to do better at any point in my lifetime. You've had 2 governors involved in different fraud scandals, but we still keep putting the same type of people back into these positions and wondering why we are in the financial and housing crisis that we are here in the state of Florida. We wonder why we are continuing to see programs, the VA down, even the VA here locally, like the cuts that they've made to the staff at the VA.
Insane.
And the different people that are getting their VA benefits cut and having to. I just saw an article today that they're talking about now they're going to be able to allow doctors to discriminate in the VA based upon your political beliefs, and if you're married or single, they can refuse you care. And again, it's just like our decisions. The worst thing I hate hearing is our vote doesn't matter. Our vote, people have spent years before even any of us have existed, sacrificing blood, sweat, and tears in their lives just to be able to go to a ballot. So just be able to sit here and say your vote doesn't matter, you're letting them get in your head and make you apathetic to the fact that your vote does matter. Because if it didn't matter, there would be no gerrymandering, there wouldn't be no voter suppression laws, they wouldn't be every year trying to come up with a different way to make it harder for people to vote. Your vote matters, your vote affects everything around you. And you have to make yourself more educated. I'm not telling you to watch any type of TV. I'm not telling you to pick a network. None of that stuff. I'm telling you, like, hey, they have bills. They have everything that they have want to propose. They have to write it out.
Yeah.
Locally, statewide, and federally. You have to write these things out and post them for people to read. It's freedom of information. You can go take the time. I know it's boring. Read for yourself. Go through this legislation. See what they are trying to do and make decisions for yourself. A lot of us don't have time. A lot of us don't take the initiative to do it. If we were as involved and worried about the things that are legislated in our lives as we were about, these different reality shows that go on and all this different just pop culture stuff, if we were more concerned about that stuff than we were that, we would be a much better functioning place.
Well, so, even when legislation gets passed, a lot of times it seems like it doesn't really matter. Like, I'll give you an example. Ron DeSantis, our governor now, made a law that it's a felony to spray chemtrails in the air. And I still see the planes spraying them every day. So, like, okay, we could argue that, whether you like DeSantis or hate him, it doesn't matter. But we could argue that spraying our kids with poison, our kids and grandkids for Vince, and us with poison is a bad thing.
Absolutely.
So even when somebody does something good, and maybe DeSantis hasn't done everything good, right? He's made some mistakes. I mean, insurance is a mess. Right? I mean, insurance in medical, in auto, in home, in Florida is an absolute nightmare, regardless of what he's done. So, big insurance companies are paying for their outcome.
Yep, absolutely.
And we all are not better for it.
Nope.
So, that's why people think their vote doesn't matter, right? Because if you see something and it's like, well, yeah, you made this law and it's a felony now, but short of the military the Air Force shooting them out of the sky, it didn't stop right away.
So you only talked about the one branch though. The law was made. Now we have to make sure it's being enforced.
Exactly.
And now you have to make sure the judges uphold these laws. The three branches have to work together. Even if he gets a law to pass, he can just say, hey, I passed this, and not enforce it.
Yeah.
So I got to win because, hey, I'm doing something, but that doesn't mean I'm going to enforce it.
Yeah, but
you get what I'm saying? It's like you have to, if these three aren't working together, there's a way for one to override the other.
Well, they're definitely not working together. They're working against each other. Like, look at what Doge just tried to do with 192 tax cuts and 181 lawsuits against them. And it's like, wait a minute, you're not working together. And look, at the base of it, Doge seems like a good idea, right? Stop wasting the taxpayers' money. Now, people are against it. No, I understand,
it's
but
the other stuff underneath that we don't like to read.
Right, but you're obviously not working together if out of 192 proposed cuts, you get sued 181 of the 192 times. They're not working together. So then I get into the circus and bread and start going down that path, and I'm like, well, what is Bernard Taylor going to change with that battle?
Before you leave the insurance level, see, because that's to me, because I like to talk about what? The pimps and the hoes, right?
Of course.
So the insurance industry is probably the biggest pimp in the country.
I mean, because I'm sure Big Pharma and Big Tech would disagree with you, but you can go ahead.
Here's the difference. Big Pharma and Big Tech are new compared to the insurance industry. You got to have it on your car.
Yep.
You got to have it on your house. And if not, I have a friend that had roof damage, and because their insurance company dropped them after years of paying your premium, because they're fighting this replacement, now you got to have forced insurance. You know how much that forced insurance is?
It's triple.
$5,000 a month.
Great.
$5,000 forced insurance, but I can pay all my premiums every month on
and
time.
You can drop me whenever
and
you
can
feel
drop
like
me whenever you feel like. What the hell? That to me. That's the most un-American thing that we do is have insurance. Because to me, that's the real insurance fraud. So don't get mad at me because I'm trying to get, after I had some water damage, get as much of my money back as I can. Right. Why you mad at me for that? I've been paying you for 20 years. I had one incident. Now because you fixed that, now you ready to drop me?
Yeah.
Because now when you drop me, that tells the other companies you need to go higher because obviously they're a liability.
Yeah, but you no longer turn into an asset. Now you're a liability.
You're a liability.
So we got to drop you. That's the thing. We got to look. And I try to tell people all the time. Everyone, all these are businesses, man. Every business has got one goal: keep as much money as possible.
That's right.
No matter what the business is. And to pertain to your other point, like what can Bernard Taylor do? It's not just about what one person could do. That's the mentality we got to get out of as well. I was crazy. I was talking with one of my cousins. It was like, man, growing up, Disney tried to tell us, man. A lot of these Disney movies, they tried to give us game plan, and we wasn't listening growing up. But if you remember the movie Ants, when the grasshopper was talking, when the ants were talking about the grasshoppers, it's like, look, one of them we can handle. We can handle even a small colony. We can handle that.
Right.
You can handle one small Bernard Taylor. My one voice out of 434. That's a small thing you can quell. You can suppress that, but What if it's 200 out of the 434? What if it's 300 out of the 435? You get what I'm saying? It takes more than one person. We have to put a bunch of the right people in place. Think about, and I don't like to give that side too much credit, but to their credit, they galvanized the plan. It was a long plan, and they have conceded power in the three branches of government over the years. They got all the people in that they wanted to get in, and they made sure they really didn't have any check or balance.
That's right.
Why can't the working class do that for us? Why can't
the
we
working class don't have enough money to start it, really?
You don't need. That's why we just said we don't need money. The money thing is for the ads. It's for the big, like, putting people faces out there.
Yeah.
The people need to just sit around and actually look at who's going to be the best and who's going to actually get in there and work. Once people actually start to take stock in their legislation and start to take stock in the government, because no matter how you feel about the government, this is where we live. We gonna be here till the day we get up out of here. We don't have the manpower or the artillery to overthrow our government, unfortunately. So we gonna have to do how they did. You're gonna have to infiltrate, quote unquote, be the virus in the government of the working class to get in there, spread out as many people, like-minded people that want to do for the people, and eventually you'll have the reform and the government that you want. But until then, until we still let these big corporations and these big donors continue to pick the people that they know they can manipulate to only work for the things that they want to work for, we're just going to perpetuate this cycle over and over again.
I got a good one. I got a good thing, because if that's going to be the case, then how do you get to these kids early enough before they start getting in trouble and losing their right to vote? So you have definitely areas up there in your district that I want to put my finger on right now, that they have had generations of poor families, so much so that it didn't matter who was in office, it never affected their families. How do you penetrate the mentality of those individual families in those suppressed areas for decades into understanding that, hey, son, I need you to not go out there and get arrested because they're going to take away your right to vote. This is what your vote can affect. How do you get to those families, especially those youngsters that's in that area, and you know that they're just one unlucky day from going to jail?
Meet people where they are. You got to go and meet people where they are and be in these communities. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these politicians, when they get elected, you never see them in their community again.
Right. They
relocate, move to Washington, or move behind some big gated community, never to be seen, never to be heard from again. And that's what I say. A lot of what separates me is, again, I'm out here. I'm with these children. I'm a part of different mentorship programs. I'm a part of different churches and community programs that I can get out here and I can be that voice. I can be that example. Just being in my career, just being able to share with a lot of the kids, like, hey, you can be a fireman. They didn't even realize that was something that they even thought about, and how accessible it is to be a fireman, and what a career it can be for you. This career has lifted me out of poverty. Like, I grew up poverty right down there in the projects, and I spent my 20s chasing jobs. I worked everywhere. I did landscaping. I worked construction. I did Home Depot, Little Caesars, like any type of job you think of, and any type of service I did in my 20s, just trying to find my way. And again, I was on food stamps to help supplement my income because again, you can't make that much money working at Little Caesars. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's because it's a job. It keeps you just over broke. That's
exactly.
Why.
So it was like, until I got this career, if I never found this career, I'd probably still be doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Still tasting check like most Americans, and just being able to show and explain to the different kids, like, hey, this career is very rewarding and it can lift your family to a whole nother level. I'm not telling you it's gonna make you this next rich millionaire, but what I'm telling you is you don't have to worry about where your next meal is gonna come from with this career.
Exactly.
You can have a retirement. Did you know what a retirement is? Do you know what a pension is? Do you know what a retirement account is? Like, all these things open to you just with this career, and the lights that come on in their eyes when I'm telling them these types of things. And it's like, nobody has ever explained this to them. Nobody, all they see is
exposure.
Yeah.
And we talk about exposure, the lack of exposure all the time.
Yeah.
But that's the big difference. But that's why I said, because I know specifically a couple of communities in your district that I'm envisioning right now that, before the sun sets, I'm the hell out of there.
Absolutely, 100%.
And
that's the thing, just exposing.
They needed the most.
Yeah. How do you avoid going too far when it comes to let's say the stuff that 95% of people agree on, but you have a letter next to your name, so you're supposed to say
that's the
this,
thing. So,
right? So
go
ahead.
Man, that's another thing that I make perfectly clear. Like I have a letter to my name because that's the party I have to run under because the other guy is already
He's
under that
already
party.
in there, yeah.
And this is a game. Independent cannot win anywhere in Florida. It's just not possible.
Not gonna work.
It's not possible. I don't care how much money he has. It's just everybody. We're so ingrained on. This my team. This my team. I'm a Seminole. You a Hurricane. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's on their team. So even if I was the best one, and I'm saying right down the middle, you don't got that D next to your name. So forget that.
Yeah.
So you got to pick a team. Unfortunately, right now in this state of politics, and again, that's what it means. You get in. And you get enough people in, you can start to change that. But for now, we have to play the game until we can be able to change the rules. And I also tell people too, it's like, hey, I'm a grown man. Don't nobody tell me how to feel and what to think. There are certain things that the D's agree on that perfect. There are certain things that they say that I'm like, I don't know about all that.
Absolutely.
And I make it perfectly known. And I'm not just saying like, hey, that's like a non-starter for me. That's like, hey, I get it, but I also get it. And it's like we have to compromise. We have to find a way in the middle. And that's the thing. Like again, people stick to party lines when they're trying to move up the party. Like this is a company guy. We can keep him up. I'm not trying to be a company guy. I don't care if you move me up. My integrity, my beliefs, the way I was raised, I will never ever allow to be compromised. And I tell people all the time, I'm going to win this thing being me. I'm not going to win this thing being anything that I was never not taught to be. And if I can't win it being me, then it wasn't for me. Let somebody else do it.
Okay.
I got a good one. So he's now Congressman Bernard Tate.
Here we go.
Speaking of existence.
That's what we do, put it in the universe. Are we still going to get the great content
100%.
that you've been building?
100%. Look here, man. Like I say, I'm me. I've been giving these jokes. I've been being this person for the last 5 years. The amount of lives I've been able to touch, being able to do this, man, I won't take it for granted. I'll never stop doing it, man. Again, it's opened so many eyes to so many different people, and those messages that I get, like, hey, man, it's my first day at the Fire Academy.
Yeah.
Thank you for the videos. Or like, hey, man, I've been dealing with some things at the department, and man, your videos make me laugh. And what people don't understand too is like, this is a great outlet for myself.
That's
as far
what I
as
was about to say.
dealing with my own mental health
Yeah.
and keeping myself sane. Like, you know what we see in the field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not nice that I don't hear the screams of a mom whose baby has just drowned and I'm sitting up there doing CPR knowing that there's probably no chance of this baby coming back. And my content is an outlet for that. Like, I get these jokes off, I get these laughs off because, again, it's my way to deal with some of the things that I have to see and some of the things that I have to be exposed to. No one calls 911 when it's a good thing.
Everything's fine. Hey, how's it going?
Like, I'm going to someone's worst day. I'm going to someone's worst part of their life right now. And imagine seeing someone's worst part of their life 16 times in a day.
Yeah.
It's and to expect that
tough.
not to affect, you get these people. I'm tough. Like, all right, man, whatever. You do you. To act like that stuff doesn't affect you. We see it on a daily basis. We hear about the stories, and not on our own department, but departments all over the country, man, of people deciding that they don't want to be here anymore, they can't take it anymore, and going to that extreme and doing, and just ending their life. And it is completely unfortunate, and I'm never going to let that be myself. And if my content and creating these jokes is a way for me to be around for my family long term, you're going to get these jokes. Now, like my brother say, sometimes he got to reel me in a little bit.
You got to pull them back sometimes.
But,
you get that BT, slow down.
But again, man, that's what started this whole thing. That's what started my goal down this path that I'm on now. And to get, again, like I said, I'm not going to switch up for anyone.
That's
the thing.
So common sense will still be common
100%,
sense for you,
100%.
even though you'll have your seat in
Don't
Congress.
you ever worry about me losing my common sense, man. And the first thing somebody asked me, you going to scrub your content? I said, for what? That's me. I'm not scrubbing nothing. That's what built me here. If they don't, people can go back and see those videos. And I've been, like I said, I've got 5 years worth of content. If you want to scroll through 5 years worth of videos to try to find something to talk to me about, and again, you put a video out, I'm gonna spin it on you and tell you how all these people have laughed at this video, and you're the only one that's up here looking like an idiot trying to make it a negative.
Look, I'm a big proponent of get the people that are in out with people like yourself. So I like what I hear. Now it's a matter of can you actually execute it once you're there.
Absolutely. And again,
and enforce it.
Yes, there are so many people around that are running in different areas, not just federally but locally and state, and to see that there are so many people like myself that are actually like, you know what, enough is enough around the country. Like I got a big group, WhatsApp group. It's like 30 of us, and there's like people running for Senate, people running for Congress up in Georgia, Senate in Oklahoma, out in Arizona. It's like so many different people are saying, you know what, we're just tired, man. We've been under this. Like I'm 36 years old. We've been dealing with this the majority of our lives, and every generation has an inflection point. Every generation has a time where it's just like, you know what, things have got to change.
Well, it's been a long time since everybody liked the president, right? Because Reagan was the last one that everybody was. 93% of the country voted for him. He won 49 states.
I know. We got some things.
No. I'm not saying. But listen, I'm not saying Reagan was the greatest president of all time. I'm saying it was the last time where everybody seemed to vote for the guy, which is a fact.
No,
I'm stating a fact.
That is an objective fact. Absolutely.
I'm stating a fact, right? He only lost one state to the guy nobody remembers his name because he won his home state and that was it.
Andrew, all I'm gonna tell you is Nancy kept encouraging me to keep doing it.
But you didn't have that polarizing, like everybody after Reagan has been, let's say, more and more polarizing, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
And I wouldn't trust, and I don't know if I trusted Reagan or not. I was a baby when he was the president. You weren't even born. So I don't know if I trusted Reagan. I'm just making a point of everyone has been more polarizing in our lifetime than Reagan.
Well, one person didn't like him. They tried to kill his ass in '81.
And I
saw that live on TV. Wow!
And you know me, man. I'm Mr. Conspiracy. Yeah. That could have been the CIA or our own government trying to kill the guy.
That's going to be the next show because I'm already fired about this JFK thing. But anyway, I'm fired up about that. We're going to have to roll that over.
They announced that the CIA killed him, and everybody was like, yeah, okay.
Okay, finally.
Well, okay.
Why can't we
Let's move on to protests and riots. That's not important.
But that's the thing, again, it's keeping us distracted from what the goals are, man. And that's like you said, man. Everyone since then has just been like, let's try to divide people as much as possible. And there are way more things that we all unite behind than the fringe 5-10% on both sides that they try to put out into the spotlight. And
they do a good job of putting that out into the spotlight.
When they have control, and that's the thing, what you guys are doing and what many people are doing with this whole independent media and YouTube, man, it's an opportunity to get honest voices out there, to give honest assessments and get their honest takes without people or corporate overlords telling you these are your talking points for the day, stay on topic, don't talk about this and all that other stuff. We don't need none of that. That's why I say I don't even watch the cable news anymore. I stick to like platforms like this where it's just regular people voicing how they feel, so you can get that pulse of what actual Americans feel and not this narrative that they try to place out on television. So it is very much important for you guys to keep doing what you're doing, keep building this platform, because we need honest voices that aren't affected by outside noise, that are actually like, hey, we can sit here, have two completely different opinions, but by the end of it, we can at least come to the middle and agree. We're not going to agree on everything, but at least we can come and have a conversation and leave and shake hands and still be cool. Right. We work in the fire service. We are I want to say 90% of them probably don't believe the same thing me and my brother believe on the political spectrum. But we are able to still come together. A 6-person crew come together for a common goal of protecting life, property, and people.
I gotta disagree. with the 95%.
Okay.
Because I think at least 80 to 85% of people, if you gave them a specific issue and had a real conversation about it, and I don't care what the issue is, it could be abortion, it could be God, it could be taxes, 85% of people, not the 10% or 12% on each side that's to the extreme, would say, oh yeah, you know what? Stop poisoning our food, air, and water. Stop injecting our animals and washing them with chlorine. Like, you know, for your kids, my kids, his G-Pips. So I don't think it is 90%. I disagree. I think that 85% of people could fix 90% of the problems if they had a real honest conversation.
So what I mean when I say that is like 85% have an R next to the name. I won't say we have like just 85% they are extreme.
In the fire, in the fire service.
I would say 85% have an R next to the name. But
our beliefs.
Our beliefs for the most part. And what I mean to your point is that we are still able to come together in that middle. And like you say, come to those common things. We may, like say, me and my captains or anybody around, again, we may disagree on the fringe stuff and we may disagree on a lot of things. But hey, that person's in this burning building. I don't care what you believe. I don't care.
Yeah, you go pull the person out.
We go pull the person out. Because like you said, we can all agree, like, hey, that person needs to be saved.
We should probably save that person.
We might not agree on some other things, but we can agree that person needs to be saved. Or we can agree, like, hey, we need to come together and come up with a plan to make sure we protect this house and protect these other homes. And that's why I think my career and we need more people that do what we do. Because to be honest, we have a lot of experience being able to come together as a team for a common goal.
Teamwork.
So, 100%, man. But
I got a good one for you. We're now Congressman Bernard Taylor again. So, biggest things you got, and we're going back to that area in which I'm talking about, because big thing that everybody in the local politics is going to have to pay attention to is the potential for gentrification. How, as much as when gentrification happens, the beautification of those areas, they look amazing because they've been run down and beat down for all these years. But the people have to change once those areas get gentrified, because those people can no longer afford to live in those gentrified areas now, with all of when they went from having the crappy grocery store to now they got Whole Foods. You know, they went from not having any coffee house to actually having the $12 Starbucks. Garbage, you know, in their communities, but now it's no longer their community. How do you feel about that aspect? I mean, we all want to see it get better, but these people get displaced.
So the thing, and it's unfortunate, but again, it's the thing of it's money. It comes all down to money. And again, it's like I have a group. Think of it. I'm a mayor, or I'm in local politics. This is my area. I need to bring money into this area. As much as I love the people in the community, they're not really helping me to get money to this area. They're not keeping the community up the way it needs to be. And that's when we as a community have to take responsibility for our communities to make sure, like, hey, we're good. You don't need to come here and touch us. But if they're not seeing us taking care of our communities, if they're not going to provide us with the assistance that we need at times to help take care of our communities, and that's another problem, not being able to get the local government to give you the assistance to take care of your community. So we can't do it, and they're not going to give us the assistance to do it. And again, you're looking at it from a mayoral to a county commissioner to a board's way of thinking. We got to get money. We got to get these property taxes. We got to get this stuff to fund our things that we want to do. Because, say for instance, we do want to help their community. We don't have the tax base. Perfect example. We look out west in our own thing. We looking out west in our own backyard. Would love for that community to be just like overhauled. If that community got overhauled, them people won't be the ones that's there.
They won't, because they couldn't afford it. But the kicker for me has always been, you know, because that's how ghettos was formed. Ghettos was formed as, okay, we're going to have this low income area that everybody can come live in. But the problem is that means your tax base is going to be lower. That means your schools are going to get the last of the last. Everything around that area is going to be infected because you didn't mix in the good with the bad. It now has become all low income. And that's just the definition of ghetto. We all got our own real, but the legal definition of ghetto is just that. We got a certain group of people, which usually is financially impoverished, that gets put into a suppressed area.
And also, too, if you look at it like the stock market, okay, you got an area of high value ain't really no benefit to me. My property, equity is not going to go up in that area. It's already probably maxed out to what it's going to be. What can I do? Let's lower the prices. Let's lower this area to the lowest possible value we can get it at. Once it's low, once we get the people to be as impoverished as possible, to let the city just run away, it's at its lowest value. Perfect. Let's scoop it in, build it up. I done build my equity up, and I can go sell that off and move on to the next one.
Is that not the job of the free market, though? I mean, the government gets involved and it gets more expensive, less efficient, and more messed up, for lack of a better term. So, the builders are going to put money in the areas that they know they can make money.
Exactly.
Right? So, how do you balance the free market versus what does the government need to do in that case?
When the state of Illinois, more specifically when my town, Chicago,
Mob-run Chicago,
tore down, when they
it's still mob-run. It's just mob-run by politicians now.
When they tore down the projects. So, this is what the effect was. You had that ghetto. No matter what project you was in, you had everybody in the same doing their own thing, and people was like, "Oh man, the crime went crazy in Chicago." No, it didn't. The crime got spread out because when they demolished those buildings, they gave each one of those families vouchers. They can go and live anywhere they wanted. Now they come in and live next to you. They come and live next to you because that person decides, "I'm going to rent this house out. I want this government check that's going to be ready to come in here every month on the 28th like clockwork." But that person is now bringing that mentality that they had down here into now where you live. That's why the whole media thing exploded like, oh, the crime rate went. No, it didn't. It just got spread out. The numbers are the same. Killings, the drugs, it was the same. Now it's just, you see it now. It's impacting your neighborhood. But that was the government way of saying, okay, we're going to disperse
the crime.
The crime because it was an eyesore. I mean, it was terrible being up there. You didn't even drive through there. And a lot of my friends grew up in there, and I'm like, man, you lucky to make it. But things like that happen on smaller scales in these communities, and that's why I picked this area because he know the area I'm talking about right now. With these row houses, I could very well see a developer coming in and making those offers and bulldozing that. Just happened in Riv recently. Where the Riv used to be ghettoed out. Now,
not so much.
Not so much.
But
now Riv is waterfront property.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but that's the thing too. It's just like we'll let you as a community, like you say, this is where the government comes in. We will let you as a community try to maintain your area.
Yeah.
And again, it'll be the government's choice whether we want to assist you in that or we're just let the free market happen. Say, let's see what happens. See if you can do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's with ill intention. They know for the most part.
They know
that you won't be able to assist. We're not going to give you the small business grants that you need to small your business.
Well, I mean, I think
we're not going to give you the subsidies that you need to get things going like we would necessarily if we would look by these waterfront properties that get those subsidies, they get these different tax breaks that don't necessarily see out there in that part of the community. So it's again, it's all, unfortunately, man, it's all a money grab, and it starts at the top with everyone, man, and we have to get people in that are going to not, I just come back to this word, but we just have to get people that are just not going to be corruptible by that power and that money.
No, I mean, the classic example for me is I grew up down here in South Florida. I grew up in Cooper City. I live in Davie now. And Wilton Manors and Pompano would be the two big, and Wilton Manors was free market, right? I mean, a bunch of gay contractors bought a ton of land and buildings and knocked it all down, and they literally took over that entire area by revamping, rehabbing, building, and it's now like it's known as a gay community, obviously, because it was a bunch of gay contractors that bought it, but then it kind of spilled over right next door to Pompano, but I think Pompano did a lot more as a city than Wilton Manors had to. Wilton Manors didn't really have to do anything but say, yeah, go ahead. Here's the permits, build nice houses and restaurants and shopping centers, and we're the home of the strip center here in South Florida.
And the people who came into Wilton Manors, man, it's pristine.
It's great.
It's
And
absolutely pristine.
No,
You can almost fry an egg on the
there's
street.
great
pick it up and eat
restaurants
it.
there. There's people walking around, walking their dogs. I mean, it's a good city
But
to
if we
be.
could take-
Like when I was a kid,
Yeah.
they told you don't drive there
Yeah.
because you'll be dodging bullets.
Yeah.
That's a whole world of difference
Different.
from
Whole
like, yeah,
different.
you could go
Absolutely.
eat at that
Yeah.
restaurant in there. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
Well,
but you got to be able to take that mentality to the people that's there now, that take pride in keeping their area clean. How do you get that mentality into
Well, I
other
think
areas?
it's like anything else. It starts with one guy with 30 people on his WhatsApp that probably have different letters next to their name,
And the broom
because
in their
that's the
hand.
game.
Exactly.
And you know, we agree on 80% of stuff. We could fix this problem with a little bit of common sense and compromise, right?
I had
and
a
you
guy-
can do that with
We can keep our
90%.
community clean just
Yeah.
by doing trash pickup.
But that's what I'm saying.
Mow your lawn, edge your grass, throw out the
Exactly.
garbage, and you're 1/80th of the way there.
Like this thing you talk about with Will Man is the same. Like I was born and raised down in Carroll City, and you can't tell me Carroll City looks like when I grew
When
up.
you grew up,
Like
yeah.
the stadium alone, like you remember Joe Robbie Stadium?
Yeah.
That ain't no Joe Robbie
Ain't no
F1 track going around that thing
That's
now,
right.
man. And
F1.
it's like literally like I used to stay right next door to the projects. We used to sit outside and watch the Jumbotron when Dan Marino used to be throwing all over the place. Now it's just like even around the shopping center, it's just the skyscraper that they're building around, and it's just like, well, guys, we gave you however many years.
Yeah.
We had put a stadium here. All you had to do was,
Do something.
do something. You didn't want to do it, so well, I guess we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you can't be mad when they're like, all right, you guys didn't want to do it.
Right.
We're coming in with these proposals. We're at the city council meeting. We ain't got no objection to
Nobody's
the proposal.
there. Yeah,
You're
it's
not-
three old ladies
Yeah,
that have
so-
nothing better to
so-
do. 3 old guys that have nothing better
So
to do.
apparently you don't care what we do.
Right.
So here we go. And then 2 years later, now you're
Everybody's
complaining.
complaining.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with school board meetings that are open to the public.
Yep.
You have these problems with the school board meetings, but when I walk in the school board meeting, it's just me and your grandma sitting here in front of these 6 commissioners.
It's the same
just
time
doing
as the
whatever.
Housewives of Atlanta.
Exactly, man.
You know?
Exactly. So again, that's what I was speaking about earlier. We have these different things that we don't like, but we don't take the time to be involved. And our government knows it. Our government knows we are a short attention span society. We are a microwave society. We don't take the time to do fine print reading. We don't take the time to be involved. They will give us a nice shiny cookie to be outraged about on each side so we can argue back and forth while they do the things that they want to do to enrich the people that keep them in power.
Yeah, I mean, we're arguing about whether or not men should play in women's
Exactly.
sports,
Exactly.
and it's like you guys can give me food that's clean,
Exactly.
air that's clean, and water that's clean, so my kids aren't poisoned. And you're talking about whether men should be, allowed to participate in women's sports, and it's like,
Common sense ain't
how,
common.
how are we letting these idiots? Assholes, whatever you want.
absolutely.
How are we
Absolutely.
letting these? Why aren't we all protesting together?
Yeah.
Like we don't need to protest. Okay, fine. Everybody, people will love Trump and think he's Jesus' second coming. People will hate Trump and think he's
Devil.
Hitler
Yeah,
or
and
the
all
devil.
that stuff.
But it's like, okay, well, what is you protesting Trump gonna actually change? Like, let's change some stuff together that we could all, get behind, right? Like we just talked about a few keys.
There are literally elections every other month everywhere. Man.
Everywhere.
Everywhere there's an election in your town.
Yeah.
Pretty much every other month, man. And it starts at that level because, again, you don't like the policies that's raining down on you. Your local government can shield you from that.
Yeah.
Then your state government can shield you from that. But if you're not getting involved in the
get
smaller
involved.
parts, you can't have that shield. So when the big government comes down and starts putting their foot on your neck, you can't get mad that you didn't have a shield from your local government.
Yeah.
You didn't put it up.
So Vince and I need to start going
Yeah,
to meetings and
Yeah.
shooting video content
Right,
there.
content
Do all
over
that
there.
stuff.
And just
Like-
say, hey, I got a question for you.
Right.
I got no clean food. I
There
got
you
no
go,
clean
man.
air. I got no clean water. Can you focus on my basic
Yeah.
needs
What are you doing
before
about
you
that?
start arguing about stuff that? Well, first of all, I'm not really confident that you have high morals.
No,
I'm
no,
not really confident that you have
They
high
wanna write you a
ethics.
ticket for leaving your kid's bicycle on your front grass.
Yeah, man.
But
No, I mean,
these are real.
and Vince
here's
knew I was gonna get amped up in this
that's
episode,
fine.
right? Like,
But this
it's,
is what is needed, man. We need dialogue like
Yeah.
this from all different people, and that's where we have lost as a society.
So I
man.
call to Republicans and Democrats alike. Let's protest something that matters
Well,
and get
back to
something,
your
and then we
protest.
can can go into like, okay, insurance is a scam and it's fraud and it's nightmare. Like, you know, like let's get the basics done first. Yeah.
One of my favorite guys, and I wish I knew his name, but I follow him online. He goes into these protests and he interviews people.
I've seen those.
And he asks them, what are you protesting?
What are you protesting?
Yeah. The amount of people that have
no idea.
Absolutely, but they're dressed in all the regalia, they this, that, and other, but they can't give you one talking point that they're there for, and they're looking to people around them to help, and the other people can't even, they're like, well, I mean,
and then there's people that just say, they offered me $150 for the day, so I took the money. Whether it's true or not, it might be true.
It's the herd conditioning. That's what I'm saying, is that so when we were talking about the 85%, yeah, a lot of those people in there can be swayed either way with just a general conversation. We see it all the time. And right there in our table, because our table is our sanctimonious place. We sit at that table and I can sway two people just in one conversation that fast. But tomorrow when they leave and get back into their communities, they sway right back to where they came from. So that lets you know that they're not standing on anything for real. It's just what's comfortable and what they flow like a river, whichever way the river's flowing. So we got to get those wishy-washy people be the ones that come to these meetings and to be more involved, because they're the overwhelming amount of body. The extremists are not they're just the loudest.
Yeah, the independents, like most of the registered people in this country are registered as independents.
Yeah,
I believe.
So everybody is open to listening to arguments. It's like, again, we'll talk about the last election. It's like when the argument got to be focused on, again, like some of the things that we talked about, whether it was the men playing in women's sports, or whether it's the immigration issue, all these different things that they keep you from focusing on the everyday thing that matters to all of us. We all want to be able, like you said, I want to be able to have clean drinking water. I want to be able to clean breathe air. I want to be able to not have to worry about if I'm going to be able to eat tonight, and I want to be able to make sure my kids are safe. That's the 4 things we can all agree on. And the problem is, again, they keep these different things in the forefront. Anytime that we start to come together and it's like focusing on the middle, it's like, boom, news bomb. Let's talk about this guy up in California, this one guy that played in this one game and got 5th place for women. Let's just toss that bomb out there.
Right.
Oh, here we go. We got another immigration raid. Let's just throw that in there so we can get these people again.
Trump Elon.
Yeah. Trump Elon having the thing on the site. It's always something to, when they start to see the collective conscious come together and start, even with this bill that they're trying to propose, it has a 79% disapproval rating, meaning people are paying attention. And they notice that. How many times you cannot look back over the history of our country and have a 79% disapproval of anything.
Yeah.
So all that means is people are actually looking at this bill and like, hold on, what side you believe on or not? It's like, wait a minute, my taxes about to go up. Wait a minute, grandma about to be out of Medicaid. She about to come live with me. Nah, we can't have that. Wait a minute, I can't get food for my kids no more once they turn 8. Like, people are paying attention to these things now, and it's like, hold on, what's going on? And as soon as, again, that collector starts to pay attention, news bomb, and then we start to lose focus. Then we got to go, this my side, this your side.
Right.
And it is my job as someone running for Congress and all these other people who are trying to make a difference to keep our collective focus for the next 15 months to the midterms hit right there in the middle. We cannot let them pull either way. And that is, again, my job out here with the content that I create, with the people that I talk to. Get you guys focused on the middle, man. Focusing on the middle, because, again, we can all agree on the majority of things in this country. And truth be told, they keep a lot of things broken so they have things to run on. They keep a lot of things broken to keep us divided. If you actually got in there and fixed these different problems, whether it be the immigration problem, whether it be, as simple as we live in a society of all different types of people. If there are people that consider themselves like, hey, I was born a woman, I want to be a man, and vice versa. Instead of being like, oh, we just want to keep them out of sports. Men has all the sports at one point. What do? We created a league for women to play in. Why can't we create a league for them so that they can be comfortable around their own people to be able to play their sports? That is a compromise. Why can't we come and compromise? Well, it's like, okay, we have another group of people that want to play sports, and I'm listening to women, and women saying, hey, we appreciate that, but we don't want them here. We don't feel it's appropriate. and they want to continue to play sports. So how about
No,
a league for them to play sports?
No, and
at high school and college level.
Right.
You make
feel comfortable.
You make a great point. The only thing that I would say back at that is like you're catering to 0.5% of the population when I still don't have my necessities of like stop poisoning my children.
No, what I'm saying is I just eliminated that problem, so now we can focus on it.
I'm okay with that.
And that's what I'm trying to get.
But who pays for that new league, right? The NBA funded the WNBA until Caitlin Clark came along.
I'm not talking about professional. I'm talking about like they bring it towards like high school and college. It's not that expensive to create a group in high school for high school sports just for them. It's not that expensive.
It's not expensive at all.
It's not that expensive in college to just have like, all right, you have the NCAA for women, NCAA for men, and you have, like you said, 0.1%. How many sports are you really thinking about them playing? And you get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, these are problems that if you eliminate them, now we can focus on this stuff. If we keep letting it be a problem, I can't focus on this. If I keep letting the immigration issue be a problem, I can't focus on this. Immigration could have been solved last year. They had people come together, put a piece of paper, say, hey, we need you to sign this so we can have whole immigration reform. What happened? Like, nah, I can't do that. We got to run on that. And you see, we've been in a whole new government for how long, and still not fixed. And it's literally a bill sitting there right now. He can sign and just say, all right, done. We got reform. But nope, we got to keep these bombs to throw.
And then you get into the argument of what's in the other 79 pages of the bill too, right? Because that becomes the argument for either side. Like, oh, this bill looks good on paper, but what about these 12 things in the fine print that are all bullshit?
Well, no, that's the thing. They came together. R's and D's came together and said, we agree on all this. Like, it was a compromise.
They also agreed that we should ban TikTok because that was a really big priority for the American people, right? Like, 100%. They had 80-something% people. 100%. Oh, yeah, we better ban TikTok. That's really important to me, right? I really want TikTok banned because I don't need food. I don't need clean food that's not injected with hormones. Like, just ban TikTok. That'll solve everything.
Well, what did that come to again? All the people that voted for it, look at all the people that donate to those campaigns.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yes. And it's like, hey, we need this to be an issue right now. We don't care about all that other
No,
stuff. And what they made an issue is bad TikTok. We're going to focus on that. We putting this money in your pocket. Y'all go and talk about this.
Yep.
And if you had people like myself, no, we ain't talking about that right now. Throw that on the back burner.
Right.
These people in my community can't.
I think politicians should do that NASCAR thing. Whoever came up with that was brilliant. Where they should, whoever donates should be on the back of their suit, so that we know who's actually talking when they're going like this.
That's the thing. Like, all this stuff is ready and available. It's just educate people. Like, you can go right now and see everyone that donates to your congressperson.
Yeah.
They have to submit financial reports, and they have to let you know who their donors are and how much money that person gave to them. All this stuff is readily available to you if you really want to know. And again, the simple way to fix all of this, you need term limits everywhere.
God bless you.
You can't have a lifetime. There's no. I have no desire to sit in Congress for 30 years. I'm trying hard to be a firefighter for 25.
Right.
Sitting in Congress for 30.
Right.
So I have no desire to do that. Also, ban stock market trading. If I can't get rich, why am I sitting up here? Why are all these people sitting up here if they can't get rich?
Right.
Think about that. A lot of people just sit up there a long time because they know they have the influence to keep building their portfolios. Ban insider trading, limit campaign finance contributions. No single entity can donate more than $1,000 to a person. Have all that. Reform Congress, and I guarantee you'll have different representation.
I think we should just, deport everybody in Congress and start over with term limits. I'm in.
We got a chance next year.
I'm in.
All 435 seats for Congress are up for grabs next year.
Get them out of there. Whoever's in there right now, vote them out.
Look at everybody that's in
434. Because we got one right here. Now that we got Congressman Bernard Taylor, I am going to give him right now the next minute and a half.
Ooh.
I'm going to give him the next minute and a half. Zoom in on him. It's your world. Tell the people in the next 90 seconds what you want them to know. This is how you're going to close this show strong. Let me move that so they can see your t-shirt while you're doing that.
All right, guys. So, first and foremost, I want to thank my partners for having me on this show today. Very much appreciated. I love the conversation. I love always being enlightened and being educated and learning from many people, no matter what their backgrounds are. Guys, I'm running for Congress in Florida Congressional District 21. That district consists of St. Lucie County, Martin County, and Northern Palm Beach County. I'm looking to be a representative for the people. My promise to you, my only promise is to you, is I will be a representative for the people. I only know how to be a public servant. I have almost 6 years of public service and the fire service as a firefighter, EMT, and now paramedic. And now I want to continue to service my community the best way I can in Congress. I want to take that whole ethos of protecting life, protecting property, and protecting my community, and I want to take it up there to Washington with me. So guys, again, I'm open, I'm transparent. You can feel free to reach out to me anywhere. My website is bernardtaylorforcongress.org. You can follow me on all my social media platforms, whether it's the comedy or the politics, my congressional page. Very, very much appreciated. Again, guys, it's about putting the right people that are going to be for the people in order to have the community and the country that you want to have. So, again, man, thank you guys for having me. It's been truly an honor and a pleasure.
Appreciate you, Bernard. Thank you for your time coming on
No
Podcast
worries,
Twins today.
Oh, it's all good. I appreciate it, brother. Absolutely.
All right, send us off, Vince.
That being the case, my man BT, Congressman BT, has sat up here and told you what to do, how to feel, and what we're going to do is help share this message. So this, above almost any other episode, I want you to make sure that you share this with everybody in your, just click everybody in your phone and just get everybody to watch this, especially if you live in Florida, in that area. I know I got several friends and co-workers that live up there. Let's go ahead and let the right people get in office and do the right thing for the right reasons. I like the word incorruptible. I heard him say that about 7 times. I was counting. So I trust that. I believe that. And but again, take the time to subscribe to this channel. Click the bell icon. Share this episode with somebody you like. If you like what you saw today and don't want to say nothing, just drop me a little fist in there. Let me know you got it. All right? Other than that, my brother Drew.
We see you next week on Podcast Twins. Thanks again to Bernard Taylor for Congress.
Podcast Twins, we are out.